IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chattha 030046100457. 14. Coordination and response. Electrical impulses travel along neurons called as nerve impulses. The central nervous system consists of the brain and the spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system consists of the nerves. The nervous system coordinates and regulates body functions. There are 3 types of neuron, each with distinct features. A reflection is a rapid, automatic nervous reaction that cannot be consciously controlled. A reflex arc is the nervous pathway that carries the impulses causing a reflex. Reflexes have a protective function. A synapse is a junction between 2 neurons consisting of a minute gap across which impulses pass by diffusion of a neurotransmitter. Identify parts of a synapse and describe how it transmits an impulse from one neuron to another. In reflex arcs, synapses ensure the movement of impulses in one direction. Sense organs are groups of receptor cells responding to specific stimuli, light, sound, touch, temperature and chemicals. A hormone is a chemical substance, produced by a gland and carried by the blood, which alters the activity of one or more specific target organs. The testes, ovaries, and pancreas and adrenal glands are endocrine glands. The endocrine glands release hormones into the blood system. When the hormones reach certain organs, they change the rate or kind of activity of the organ. Adrenaline is secreted in fright, fight or flight situations. It causes an increased breathing and pulse rate and widened pupils. Adrenaline has a role in the chemical control of metabolic activity, including increasing the blood glucose concentration and pulse rate. The nervous system is much faster, and its action tends to be over a shorter time span than hormonal control systems. Homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment. Insulin decreases blood glucose concentration. Negative feedback provides a means of control. If levels of substances in the body change, the change is monitored and a response to adjust levels to a set point is brought about. Glucose concentration in the blood is controlled using insulin and glucagon. Type 1 diabetes is the result of islet cells in the pancreas failing to produce enough insulin. Type 1 diabetes is treated with insulin. Skin controls the body temperature. If the body temperature rises too much, the skin cools it down by sweating and vasodilation. If the body loses too much heat, vasoconstriction and shivering help to keep it warm. The brain monitors the temperature of the blood. A response related to the direction of the stimulus is a tropism. The roots and shoots of plants may respond to the stimuli of light or gravity. Gravitropism, geotropism, is a response in which a plant grows towards or away from gravity. Phototropism is a response in which a plant grows towards or away from the direction from which light is coming. Investigations into gravitropism and phototropism in shoots and roots, e.g. plant stem bends towards light if it is placed in a window. This bending is called phototropism. Gravitropism, geotropism, is the movement of the root towards the gravity. Both phototropism and geotropism are controlled by plant hormones are called auxins. Auxin is unequally distributed in response to light and gravity. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chattha 030046100457. Auxin stimulates cell elongation. A gravitropism is a growth response to the stimulus of gravity. Roots are positively gravitropic and shoots are negatively gravitropic. A phototropism is a growth response to the stimulus of light. Shoots are positively phototropic and grow towards the light. Auxins are plant hormones that control growth. Synthetic auxins are used as weed killers by making the weeds grow too fast. Homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment in the body. Examples of homeostasis include maintenance of the body's water and salt content, glucose level in the blood, and body temperature. Homotherms are animals that maintain a constant body temperature, using physiological means. The thermoregulatory center is a region in the hypothalamus of the brain which monitors body temperature and brings about mechanisms to correct for changes in core temperature. Negative feedback is a method of control used in homeostasis. Human skin contains many different structures, including hairs, sweat glands, receptors, blood vessels, and fatty tissue. Fatty tissue in the skin functions as insulation against heat loss. There are a number of ways the skin is involved in temperature regulation, including sweating, erection of hairs, and vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Changes in metabolism and shivering are used in temperature regulation. A change in a person's surroundings is called a stimulus. It produces a reaction called a response. Stimuli are detected by receptors, sense organs, and the response is brought about by effectors, muscles and glands. The nervous system coordinates stimulus and response. The central nervous system, CNS, consists of the brain and spinal cord. Nerves contain specialized cells called neurons. Nerve cells carrying impulses into the CNS are called sensory neurons, neurons carrying impulses out to effectors are motor neurons. Relay neurons link sensory and motor neurons. In the CNS, many reflexes act to protect the body, e.g. the withdrawal reflex to a painful stimulus. During a reflex, a stimulus is detected by receptors, which generates impulses in a sensory nerve. Sensory neurons enter the CNS and synapse with relay neurons. The relay neurons pass the impulses to motor neurons, which leave the CNS in a motor nerve. Motor neurons carry the impulses to the effector organ. This C-shaped arc is called as reflex arc. The brain consists of a number of distinct regions with different functions, such as the cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland. The eye is a complex sense organ with a structure that allows it to form an image on a light-sensitive layer at the back of the eye, called the retina. The image is formed by refraction of light at the cornea and lens. Cells in the retina called rods and cones convert light into nerve impulses, which travel through the optic nerve to the brain. The iris contains two sets of muscles, which adjust the diameter of the pupil to control the amount of light entering the eye. This is a reflex action. Focusing is carried out by ciliary muscles, which alter the shape of the lens. When the eye focuses on a distant object, the lens is made less convex. It becomes more convex to focus on a nearby object. Fovea, yellow spot, is the point on retina in the eye where the clearest image is formed. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatha 030046100457. Blind spot is a point at retina where there are no rods and cones, so cannot detect any stimulus like light. The endocrine system consists of ductless glands, which secrete chemicals called hormones into the blood. Hormones travel in the blood to their target organs, where they bring about a response. The adrenal glands secrete adrenaline, which controls the fight or flight response. The effects of adrenaline include an increase in the heart rate and rate of breathing, diversion of blood to the muscles, dilation of the pupils, and the conversion of stored glycogen into glucose, to boost glucose levels in the blood. The blood glucose concentration is controlled by two hormones from the pancreas, insulin and glucagon. Insulin causes a reduction in blood glucose by stimulating its uptake by the liver and conversion into glycogen. Glucagon stimulates the liver to break down glycogen into glucose, raising blood glucose level. There are two types of diabetes mellitus, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 diabetes is caused by underproduction of insulin by the pancreas. It is not associated with lifestyle factors, such as poor diet. It can only be treated using injections of insulin. Type 2 diabetes is caused by the receptors for insulin on liver and muscle cells being unable to recognize insulin. It is normally found in adults who have a poor diet and are overweight, and can often be controlled by an improvement in diet and lifestyle, although it may require insulin injections. Diabetics can monitor their blood glucose levels using biosensors so that they know when to inject insulin. Some diabetics use an insulin pump, which provides a constant supply of insulin. The main functions of the skeleton are protection of internal organs, manufacture of blood cells, providing support for the body, and movement and locomotion. A joint is a place where two bones meet. There are different types of joint, allowing varying degrees of movement between bones. Movable joints are surrounded by a capsule and ligaments to prevent dislocation of the joint, contain synovial fluid to reduce friction between the bones, and have cartilage at the ends of the bones, to act as a shock absorber. The elbow is a hinge joint, allowing movement in only one plane. Shoulder is a ball and socket joint, allowing movement in 3 planes. Bones are moved by the contraction of muscles, working in antagonistic pairs. The scapula, humerus, radius, and ulna are bones in the forelimb of a mammal. Contraction of the biceps muscle flexes the arm at the elbow. Contraction of the triceps muscle extends the arm when biceps contract, triceps relax, and vice versa. This movement of the arm up and down is controlled by antagonistic muscles which are opposite to each other. Keywords: brain, spinal cord, neuron, CNS, central nervous system, hypothalamus, PNS, peripheral nervous system, medulla oblongata, nerve impulse, synapse, action potential, resting potential, coordinator, receptor, effector, stimulus, glycogen, glucagon, insulin, emergency hormones, myelin sheath, reflex action, accommodation, homeostasis, excretion, metabolism, epidermis, Malpighian layer, dermis, hair follicles, sebaceous glands, sebum, sweat glands, homeothermic, poikilothermic. Convection, conduction, radiation, sweat, latent heat, vasodilation, vasoconstriction, hypothermia, insulin, adrenaline, detoxification, deamination, skin. IGCSE and O-Level Smart Biology M. Rashid Chatha 030046100457. Glossary. Aqueous humor, the liquid that fills the front chamber of the eye between the lens and the cornea. Accommodation, alterations to the focus of the eye. In man, this is done by changing the shape of the lens. Antennae, long narrow sense organs on the heads of insects, containing receptors of touch, taste, smell, humidity, and temperature. Auxin, a hormone produced by plants which controls the rate of cell growth in roots and shoots. Axon, the nerve fiber of a neuron, nerve cell, which conducts nerve impulses away from the cell body. Blind spot, point at which the optic nerve leaves the retina of the eye. It is insensitive to light. Central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. Cerebellum, the part of the brain which controls balance and muscular coordination. Cerebral cortex, gray matter which forms the outer layer of the cerebral hemispheres. It controls voluntary movements and is concerned with memory, thinking, and learning. Cerebral hemispheres. 2 swellings at the front of the brain. These form the largest region of the human brain and are concerned with conscious sensation, learning, and memory. Ciliary muscles, muscles in the eye which change the shape of the lens during accommodation. Cones, cone-shaped, light-sensitive cells in the retina of the eye. They work only in bright light and are sensitive to color. Conjunctiva, transparent skin that covers and protects the front of the eye. Coordination, control of the body so that its tissues and organs work together at the correct speed and in the correct sequence, thereby serving the body as a whole. Cornea, transparent, circular window at the front of the eye. Dermis, the layer of skin beneath the epidermis, consisting of connective tissue, blood vessels, nerves, hair roots, and cells filled with fat. Effectors, tissues or organs which respond to stimuli, e.g. muscles and glands. Embryo.